Ranil Wickremesinghe has been appointed as Sri Lanka's new Prime Minister. United National Party chief and opposition leader Wickremesinghe took oath as the Lanka Prime Minister amid unprecedented financial crisis and violence in the island nation. Wickremesinghe has become the Prime Minister for the fifth time. He held closed-door discussions with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa last evening, took oath today following the resignation of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Big news coming in from Sri Lanka, which is at a brink of a civil war, as we're looking at the economy completely crashed. Here, people coming out on the streets protesting violently at a time when we were looking at a near military takeover. Here is Ranil Wickremesinghe, who has now been appointed as the new Prime Minister for Sri Lanka. United National Party chief and opposition leader Wickremesinghe has now taken oath as the Sri Lankan Prime Minister amid unprecedented financial crisis and violence in the island nation. Wickremesinghe has become the Prime Minister for the fifth time. He held closed-door discussions with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa last evening, took oath today following resignation of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Let me cut across to Akshay Nath, India Today reporter, who's the only reporter from India on ground bringing us live updates from the country of Sri Lanka, which is seeing unprecedented crisis. Akshay, who is this new Prime Minister? Does he have the caliber to stabilize the country as it now is on a brink of a civil war?
Well, Nabila, what we're seeing here in Sri Lanka right now is a big development politically. Now we can understand that the vacuum that was created after Mahinda Rajapaksa resigned on the 9th of May has now been completed. We're seeing that Ranil Wickramasinghe, in a very low-key affair, has taken charge as the Prime Minister of the country, and we're seeing that right now he's at the Balarama temple, and you can see the doors of the temple have been closed. He has come to pay his tribute here. This is a ritual that is being followed by most of the Prime Ministers who take charge as Prime Ministers here, and this is going to be a very difficult phase for Ranil Wickramasinghe. You need to understand that this is one of the worst economic crises that the country has faced since its independence in 1948, and as far as experience is concerned, yes, Ranil Wickramasinghe has led the nation before as well. And today, while he was entering into the Balarama temple, he had spoken, and at that point of time he said this is a crisis scenario, and during the previous economic crisis in the country, similar situations have been dealt with by Prime Ministers who had taken oath, and he said that he was confident of taking things forward. And we need to understand that the present president, who is Gotabaya Rajapaksa, there is a lot of anger against him. Still, Gotabaya Rajapaksa has been demanded to step down by the people here, and we have been seeing protests still going on in Goldface, where people have been raising slogans against Rajapaksa, saying that they are the reason behind the kind of scenario that the country is in. So while we're seeing Ranil Wickramasinghe joining hands with them, how will that reciprocate with the people of the country is something that we'll have to wait and watch. And those will be more visible in the next couple of hours. And we're seeing that Ranil Wickramasinghe will have the responsibility now to take the country forward as well. So the questions remain as to who will be the cabinet ministers who will be accompanying him into taking this country forward, and how many seats will be his and how many of them will be for Gotabaya Rajapaksa's loyalists. All these are questions that still remain uncertain, and we also need to see the sentiments of the local people here. We've already known that Sajid Premadasa, who is one of the strong opposition leaders, who was earlier given an opportunity to become the Prime Minister, had refused it, saying that the President has to step down and only then will he do that. But today, even he had come forward demanding, saying that he is interested to become the Prime Minister, but with 4 conditions. And his conditions were that the President should step down in a certain time frame, and amendment of the 19th, by the 19th Amendment, the executive powers that are vested upon the President should be changed. Similarly, 4 other details were given by the opposition leader. But now what we're seeing is that in a very low-key affair, Ranil Wickramasinghe has taken charge as the Prime Minister. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how the people of this island nation will react, and how the Prime Minister is going to chalk out an action plan for the nation to come out of the current economic crisis that they are now reeling in, Nabila.
You know, at this point, Akshay, we do know that Gotabaya Rajapaksa, as much as the opposition that he received, he still remains the president of the country. And it seems like he and Ranil have now had a meeting together. They've discussed things and they've come to a decision that Ranil will take over as the Prime Minister. People are still upset with Rajapaksa though. Are they okay to have him as the president still at the helm of affairs?
Well, certainly, Nabila, no is the answer, because what we have been seeing in Goldface all through the day, even now, is slogans being raised against Gotabaya Rajapaksa. They have been very clearly stating that we don't want any of the Rajapaksas in the helm of affairs in the country's administration. They have lost all hope and belief on them. They want Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Mahindra Rajapaksa and the other Rajapaksas to be out of the scene. But who else will be replacing them? That is one major question. And now Ranil Wickramasinghe joining in hands with Gotabaya Rajapaksa as the president will also not go down well. We need to register that as well. One of the reasons why Sajid Premadasa, the other opposition leader, had been saying that he will not take charge unless and until President Gotabaya Rajapaksa steps down is because of this public sentiment. And there have been multiple charges against the Rajapaksa family, which these people now have been raising as a concern, stating that the coffers of the country was looted by the Rajapaksas and now they don't want to deal with them again. They want a new future, new government, new solution and a new system in place. So will that be offered by Ranil Wickramasinghe and his team? That is something that we'll have to wait and watch. But it is going to be a very, very difficult track forward for them.